right, guys, and so now we're on to the last part of solving logarithmic equations. So now we have where there are 2 logs equals no log. So we can't just cross out 1 log on this side and 1 log on that side. We can't swoop because it's only going from 1 log to exponential form. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do kind of a combo of the 2 things that we've been doing. So the first thing is I want to combine those 2 logs. So using the properties of logarithms, it's going to be log base 9. And I'm going to take this 4 and this x because it's adding. I'm going to multiply 4 times x equals 1. And now it's 1 log equals no log. So now I do what we just did on the previous lesson. So we're going to swoop 9 to the 1 equals 4x. So 9 equals 4x. Divide by 4, divide by 4. I want to leave my answers in simplest fraction form. So x equals 9 over 4. Final answer. All right, for the next one, same idea. I've got 2 logs. So I want to make that 1 log. So I'm going to do log base 4. And then I'm going to take this x and I'm going to take this 5. And because it's subtraction this time, I'm going to divide them. So it's going to be x over 5. X divided by 5 equals 2. And now we're going to swoop it because it's 1 log equals no logs. Whoop. 4 squared equals x divided by 5. So we've got 16 equals x divided by 5. So we want to get the x by itself. So we get rid of the 5 by multiplying both sides by 5. So we get x equals 80. Final answer. All right, so just double checking. It would give me a positive log if I plug in number 1. Yep. It would give me a positive log if I plug in 80 for x. Yep. Okay. On to the next 2. I've got 2 logs. So I take those 2 logs and I'm going to condense them into 1 log. So it's natural log x, and this 8, since it's subtraction, I'm going to do x divided by 8 equals 3. Now we have 1 log equals no log, so we're going to swoop, swoop. And now when it's ln, the base is e. So it's going to be e to the 3 equals x divided by 8. Now I need to do that on the calculator because when it's ln, I can use my calculator for decimal points. So e to the 3rd is going to equal 20.0855. I keep that in my calculator, and I have x divided by 8. So I want to get rid of the dividing by 8. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. So I'm going to now hit the multiply symbol in my calculator, 8. So I get the most accurate answer. And let me just scroll up to the top to see what am I rounding to? 2 decimal places. So I've got x is equal to 160.68. Final answer. Okay, on to number 4. So we've got these 2 logs that need to be condensed into 1 log. So it's going to be log base 6. And now my properties of logs say take that 9 and take that 5 minus x. And since it's adding, we're going to do 9 times 5 minus x. So what I have to do is distribute. So it's going to be 45 minus 9x equals 4. Okay, so now I swoop, swoop. 6 to the 4th equals 45 minus 9x. So 6 to the 4th is 1,296 equals 45 minus 9x. So I'm going to minus 45. So I get negative 9x equals 1,251. I divide by a -9, and I get -139. Now remember, that's the thing that we have to check and make sure that it doesn't give me a negative number, because this is making me nervous a little bit. So when I plug it back in, 5 minus a negative becomes plus a positive, so that becomes 5 plus 139. So we're all set with that. We don't have to worry about that, so that works. All right. For number 5, we're going to condense those 2 logs into 1 log. So log base 8. And now I'm going to take this 1 minus 3x and this 4, and because it's subtraction, I divide the 2 equals 2. Now it's 1 log equals no log, so I swoop 8 squared equals 1 minus 3x divided by 4. So that's going to be 64 equals 1 minus 3x divided by 4. I want to get rid of the dividing by 4, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. So 64 times 4 is, I'm going to move that up there, 256 equals 1 minus 3x. So I'm going to minus 1. 255 equals negative 3x. Divide by negative 3. And we get x equals, I'm going to write that up here, 255 divided by negative 3, negative 85. Does that work? Negative 3 times a negative 85 is going to become plus, so that's 1 plus. So that works. So remember, we're checking to see, will it give me a negative number if I plug it back in? And it doesn't, so we're all set with that one. All right, number 6, I got these 2 logs need to be condensed into 1 log, so log base 8. And then I'm going to take this x squared and this 2, and because it's adding, my property says when you are condensing the adding ones, it becomes multiplying, so 2x squared equals 1. Swoop, 8 to the 1 equals 2x squared. So 8 equals 2x squared. Divide by 2. I get 4 equals, I forgot the equals in between. 4 equals x squared. Take the square root. X is going to equal plus or minus 2. Do they both work? Positive 2 squared works. X equals positive 2 is going to work. What about negative 2? Negative 2 squared? That works. So we've got 2 answers for that one because both of them give me a positive log. Okay, on to the last 2. So we're going to take these 2 logs and condense them into 1 log. So log base 6. And then I'm going to take x plus 1 and x. And because that's adding, I'm going to multiply x and x plus 1. So I distribute that in. So I get x squared plus 1x equals 1. And now when I have 1 log equals no logs, I swoop to exponential form. 6 to the 1 equals x squared plus 1x. So I get 6 equals x squared plus 1x. I want to, since it's quadratic, bring everything to one side. So I minus the 6 over. So I get x squared plus 1x minus 6 equals 0. And I'm going to factor that into factors of 6 that minus to give me 1. X plus 3, x minus 2. Do they both x equals, I'm going to work my way backwards now, x equals 2. Does negative 3 work? No, that gives me a negative number. So that will not work because that's a log of a negative and that's not allowed. X equals 2, that works. So this one only has one solution, x equals 2. Last one, we've got 2 logs. So we're going to condense them into 1 log, log base 6. I'm going to take this 6x and this x minus 1, and because it's adding, I'm going to multiply. So I distribute that in, so 6x squared minus 6x equals 2. And now I have 1 log equals no logs. I swoop to exponential form. 6 squared equals 6x squared minus 6x. So we get 36 equals 6x squared minus 6x. Since it's quadratic, I bring it all to one side. So I've got 6x squared minus 6x minus 36 equals 0. I divide everything by 6, aka factor out of 6. Equals 0. I'm looking for factors of 6 that minus to give me 1. Here we go, 3 and 2 again. But this time it's a negative 3 and a positive 2 to give me that negative 1 in the middle. So x equals positive 3 and negative 2. Do they both work? Positive 3. 6 times positive 3. 3 minus 1. Yep, 3 works. Negative 2. 6 times negative 2, that would be negative 12. Can't take the log of a negative number, so that one is gone. So my only answer for number 8 is x equals 3. All right, guys, so that is it for these solving logarithmic equations. You guys try this set of them on your own.